a long letter condemning this cartoon, but he started his letter off with a dictionary definition of a cartoon and said that according to this dictionary definition, what I produced wasn't even a cartoon. So he disagreed with it, but it was all right because it didn't exist, which is weird magic. But this idea of taking effect as an aggressive weapon. Interestingly enough, this cartoon, which I did during the incursion into Gaza, I was just expecting to get the same kind of response. In fact, I got one email that was clearly from somebody working for Israeli security, pretending that he was an Israeli officer sitting in a foxhole outside Gaza City. But unfortunately, he forgot to delete product manager from the bottom of his email. And what they were obviously doing is realizing that the intimidatory tactic doesn't work. They're scanning the Western media for anything about Israel and realizing that actually having concerted accounts work. Although it's a very effective tactic, as is equating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, criticism of Islam with offence, the idea that freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of thought will always be trumped by freedom from being offended. This idea that we all have to be free from the possibility of ever being even slightly upset by somebody else's opinion, which is ludicrous.
Yeah, what's the dog?
That's Tony Blair.
Ah.
That's Tony Blair, who that week went to Washington to receive his Congressional Medal of Honor from Bush. Now, this is as far as I got with a cartoon for The Independent on Sunday about the Danish cartoon crisis. Because the British press were very worried about the whole thing and very frightened. And another paper I worked for was the Daily Mirror, and I was doing a cartoon which was obliquely about the subject of the Muhammad cartoons. And they just said, no, you can't do anything at all about this. And I said, but I'm illustrating a column where the columnist has written about this subject, and I'm meant to be illustrating what he's written. And they said, yes, it's fine if he writes it, you can't draw anything about it. And I said, well, why not? I said, well, we have about 40,000 Muslim readers. And I said, well, they've got to buy the paper before they burn it. What's the problem, you know? This is a commercial decision. But my attitude to the Danish cartoon controversy is probably slightly counterintuitive, not what you might expect. As a satirist, I've always maintained that H.L. Mencken's definition of journalism works as satire as well, that you afflict the comfortable and you comfort the afflicted. That the purpose of satire is not to attack people for what they are, but what they think, and also to attack the powerful. I only attack people more powerful than I do. And as far as I could tell, the Muhammad cartoons as published in Jyllands-Posten were about a Danish newspaper that had been running a decades-long campaign against immigration, using another method of targeting a group of poor, powerless people, many of whom probably actually clean the toilets and empty the bins at Jyllands-Posten's offices. And so I thought actually the running of those cartoons, because of their target rather than their subject matter, was wrong. However, the response afterwards, and remember it was 6 months later that the controversy exploded worldwide, because powerful Danish mullahs had used these images, with 3 more images which never appeared in the newspaper, including one of somebody being a Muslim at prayer being sodomized by a dog. And I wonder where that image came from. It's possible they even commissioned it themselves. When they started hawking those around the despotisms of the Middle East, and spontaneous demonstrations happened in countries where you don't have spontaneous demonstrations, it was clearly not about images, it was not about offence, it was about raw power, it was about politics, it was about these people saying, we are using this tactic that if you say something bad about us, it is offensive, therefore it should never have been said, it is unspeakable, therefore you're not allowed to say anything, therefore I've won the argument, therefore you shut up and go away. And that's precisely what it is about. I did this cartoon for The Guardian as a result of the cartoon row, and it was the first cartoon in 13 years that actually had to be approved by the editor of The Guardian. Oh. And as you say, it's funny, isn't it, how you can see faces in the flames. I mean, don't you think that over there? It's exactly like, don't even think it. And there was a long a long sort of internet discussion about where the face of the Prophet Muhammad is in there. It's nowhere. It's nowhere at all. An offence is in the eye of the beholder. This one was after Karen Abramovich was arrested in Serbia. And I'm just showing this because I was reflecting on, they've got him, what about Iraq? So the figure of justice is just trod in some dog shit, spelling out Iraq on her foot. And there was a letter published in The Guardian which just said, Martin Rowson's cartoon is offensive. yours sincerely. That actually, you actually say, I have been offended, therefore this should never have appeared, because I have been offended. And this one of Obama, I'm having terrible problems with Obama because I can't think of anything bad he's done yet. It's my job as a satirist to attack him, but when he said he wasn't going to prosecute the CIA waterboarders and torturers, I did this one, which is a stupid pun, yes, icon, and his halo bouncing off. But when this appeared on the Guardian website, the first comment from a reader was, this cartoon is racist. But it's not. I mean, why is it racist? I actually broke a golden rule and I engaged with it, and I actually sort of said, why is this cartoon racist? I don't understand why it is racist, unless you're actually saying depicting a black man as looking black is racist, in which case depicting anybody in any way whatsoever is going to be offensive, and we're all like the Prophet Muhammad. Nobody can ever draw anybody because it might upset someone. And he had the decency to apologise 15 posts down, because he thought I was Steve Bell, actually. And just to show that this tactic for taking offence goes across the board, this tactic of saying, this is offensive, you have transgressed in some way, therefore you should shut up. I did this cartoon for the cover of an atheist newspaper in London called New Humanist, and it's to illustrate an article about Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens, who have started a campaign in America called the Out Campaign, which is to encourage atheists in America to come out of the closet, come out of the atheist closet, and admit that they're proud to be atheists, which is a very commendable campaign, which I support, except that it's actually expropriated the language of gay liberation. And gay liberation is about a fundamental human right to receive equal treatment for what you are, not what you think. And atheism, like any other religion or political opinion, is just an opinion. We should be allowed to think whatever we want, we should be able to say whatever we want, but I do not believe that being an atheist is the same as being gay, or being a woman, or being a different ethnic group. It is an opinion. And therefore I did this cartoon, which I'm slightly attacking these two people. And what Dawkins is doing is skipping across the field looking very jolly and happy. Some of you may be familiar with the work of Ronald Searle and a character he created in a children's book called Molesworth books in the 1950s. A character called Basil Fotherington Thomas, who was a sort of happy little chap who sort of bounced along, banging his wrists together, going, hello clouds, hello sky. And Dawkins is like that, he's happy, he's jolly. On Dawkins' website, which I strongly recommend you go and have a look at, because you can't tell if Dawkins' website is promoting a cult or a racket, whether you should actually believe everything he says or just buy his videos and t-shirts. But there was a very, very long debate, it wasn't really a debate, it was a rant, saying that this was the most homophobic image which any of them had ever seen. It was disgracefully It was the most disgracefully homophobic image, because I was portraying Dawkins, who is not gay, as a stereotypical gay man with limp wrists. Well, actually, his wrists aren't limp. You need quite strong wrist muscles. And somebody even said, he's wearing sandals, a well-known gay signifier. So essentially what I'm saying is that everybody out there, whatever their opinion, whatever their political program, is yearning to be offended, is just waiting for somebody to say something which they can say, you've offended me, my feelings are more important than your free expression, so shut up, which means they've won the argument. Thank you very much.